Do you ever think we should like play or watch something that's not from the 90s?
You mean like go see movies from the current year? I mean, I guess we could see Cap 4. I've seen Cap 1, 2, and 3, I think.
Well, have you seen The Incredible Hulk?
No.
The Eternals?
No.
Captain America and the Winter Soldier?
No.
Have you seen the last 5 Indiana Jones?
No.
Yeah, sure, let's go watch it.
Well, what did you think about Captain America 4, Brave New World, previously titled New Order, I think?
Was it New Order?
I think they titled the New Order, and then they were like, wait, that's a conspiracy theory. We can't align ourselves with that.
We're Disney. We have no conspiracy theories
it's
whatsoever.
Squeaky clean.
I don't have a horrible vendetta against Disney now since they killed someone with a peanut allergy.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was crazy.
Never forget.
Never forget. Don't let them live that down.
Don't let them live that down because they didn't let her live. So.
Yeah. All right. So what do we think?
I think it was definitely hard mid. It was not.
You thought it was hard mid?
Hard mid.
I thought it was hard below mid. I did not enjoy this movie very much.
No.
The weird thing was like there was a few little like blips where I was like, oh, maybe it's gonna be kind of okay, and like I saw potential for development, and then it was just aggressively bad for the rest of it.
But I don't know if that makes it worse because
it's a fumble.
Because it's a fumble.
Yeah,
you
sometimes
had
the fumble.
something nice, and then it's like, oh. I dropped all my scrambled eggs I made at 3 a.m. on the ground.
So because of the eternal news cycle, we know that this movie had a pretty rocky development period.
Yeah.
It was supposed to come out how many years ago?
Well, it was supposed to come out last year.
Last year? Okay, that's not too bad.
Which I don't know if it would help it or not. If I can't remember one of the last times it said it was going to come out, but I'm assuming it was going to be before the American election.
Oh, that could be true.
And which has a lot of like parallels, I would say.
I guess
it's definitely trying to speak to the American politics.
Do you think that they had a very different, more political cut of this movie?
I think there was a harder stance.
Yeah.
And then maybe that they did some backpedaling, perhaps.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to talk about one of the trailers that was cut. I don't know if it was like the final trailer. But one of
last year, or
I think it was from last year.
Okay.
It was definitely not the final trailer, but one of them made it look like almost a political thriller spy movie. And
that's kind of what it's going for. It's going for Winter Soldier.
There is a lot, yeah. Okay. There is some political intrigue, but to be honest, most of it feels kind of clumsy and like not that well done. Because the villain? Do we want to talk about the villain yet? Okay, first of all, big impressions.
There's a lot of imagery in here I like that they were not able to deliver.
Yeah.
I think they were not able to deliver on what they wanted or even what I wanted out of this movie.
It felt bad.
It was definitely, you could tell that there was a hard whiplash. I think we both said it after the movie. There's some scenes of hard whiplash where we could tell what was reshot.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it kind of left you like, really? That's the best version? That's what you sacrificed months and millions of dollars for.
Millions of dollars. Because I think someone leaked the production for just the reshots was like, I think 190 something million.
Yeah, it was almost an entire movie by itself.
Almost an entire movie of reshots. And at the end, I was like, that's it? That's the best you got after how many revisions, how many reshots, and how many like test scenings?
Yeah.
It was just bad. It was just bad.
And so this is Captain America 4, but really it's Incredible Hulk 2.
Yeah, and that is a struggle for someone who's like more of a casual viewer like me. I haven't seen all of the films.
That's the ultimate thing where it's like he has not seen. Okay, we're gonna go over this. So you've not seen Incredible Hulk.
I have not seen Incredible Hulk.
You have not seen the Eternals.
The Eternals was. Has anybody seen the Eternals? That's what I'm wondering. Is like,
I've not seen the Eternals. I know what happens in the Eternals.
Yeah,
but that's also semi-required viewing for this. Bucky Winter Soldier.
I saw the first episode of that and I was like, this is atrocious.
Okay.
I could not Be that stomach.
You could also say, yeah, I wonder, because there's a lot of setups in here where there's a lot of weird little cameos.
There's a lot of stuff that I think for your average person, you would have no clue. Okay, let's start going through the movie chronologically, and I'll tell you every time I was confused.
Okay, so opening.
So first of all, the Giancarlo Esposito character, what they call him, like Sidewinder, or
I really think
serpent?
he's just like a Crossbones type character.
Okay.
He's just a villain of the week.
villain of the week.
So he's just there, but they put him as drug lord guy, just because
Yeah. So
he's
that
drug lord guy in another show. Why not just put him?
I
in
know
there?
he's been typecast so hard. I
Yeah.
like him.
I love him.
He's a great actor, but he didn't feel appropriate to be a action against this young Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
It's like this dude is clearly 60, and some of the action scenes were a little awkward.
Yeah, and I accept that he used the guns and everything, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's totally fine if you're the old hitman.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson was the old hitman type of character.
Yeah.
But he didn't do the action.
But it's not
the
in
way
a
this guy's trying
superhero
to.
universe, you know.
Yeah.
We have to struggle to. It really feels like the Marvel universe is struggling at its seams, and I want to talk about power scaling later too. But let's.
But you could tell the only reason he had a chance against Captain America is because Captain America didn't have any of his gear.
Yeah.
This was street wear.
Yeah.
Mackie.
They do that a lot. I don't know why.
Because that was the only way to bring him back down.
He spends most of the movie not in his gear. And it's kind of like I want to see more gear.
Because
I want to see more super in my superhero movies.
yeah, because unfortunately,
They're dragging too much baggage from this political thriller.
Yeah.
And then halfway through they sort of recast it or redid it to be more superhero-y.
Yeah.
But they left too much of that, I guess, on the cutting room floor or whatever.
because
There's got to be hundreds of hours of this movie that have never been
I've never seen the light of
never seen the
day.
light of day.
Because that's the main difference also between the two types of characters. So it's a new type of Captain America.
Yeah.
Old Steve Rogers Captain America. He has super strength and everything all the time.
Yeah.
Every second, every day.
Yeah.
Mackie's got to put on the suit,
Yeah.
and that's the main difference. So they create tension by having him take off the suit,
Yeah.
and that's the only way they can really do that. Where it's that's the main difference. Where it's
Right.
like, okay, I got to go put the suit on. I got to Iron Man this. He became Iron Man.
Yeah, it feels he uses a lot of stuff that was derivative from other heroes now.
Yeah.
So it's like I think he has the Ant-Man helmet or something like it.
He needs a helmet if he's gonna go supersonic. He just
Yeah.
fucking
So-
blow his eardrums out.
So he's got his Falcon wings, which he's carried from his own character.
Yeah.
Now he's got the Captain America shield. He's got the Wakanda
Vibranium and
energy
pulse
things that
from
the Black Panther suit has.
Yeah,
And then
that's a big give, honestly.
It is
if
huge.
they gave him that, I was like, oh, but that's the only thing that can.
they have a throwaway line for that. Do you think that was in Black Panther 2? Because I haven't seen that either.
I saw Black Panther too. I think I can't remember if there. I don't think there was any talking.
Was he in the
between his
movie?
No, he was not in the movie.
Okay.
Not that I remember. They're far more focused on Wakanda stuff. They were not focused on a wider universe.
That's what they got to start doing again. The focus movies, because like you said, this is like Hulk 2.
Yeah,
Doesn't seem like it has that much to do with Captain America 4 at this point.
yeah. And this is definitely no one in this movie had previous ties to Anthony Mackie at all.
Yeah.
So this was
Was his sidekick guy a new character?
not to him, yes.
Okay.
But I don't know if he appears in Winter Soldier. No, I'm sorry, Bucky and Cap.
Yeah, we're at the point where it's like you have to do so much homework to just be up to speed with these movies.
I know that he exists in the comics. I just don't know if he's been on screen before this moment.
I don't remember.
But the main thing here is that the dichotomy between the power scaling you're saying
Yeah.
between Red Hulk
yeah.
and Falcon Captain America,
It's got to be huge, right?
it's the most.
Yeah.
Because Red Hulk beats a lot of people,
Yeah.
honestly. And
Is he equivalent to the Hulk in terms of power, or is it different?
his power is slightly different.
Yeah.
He
I thought he was supposed to be heat based.
he is heat based, so the angrier he gets, the hotter he becomes.
Yeah.
And I believe
Because can't
that's
he go like supernova and like become a huge threat?
exactly.
They didn't play with that at all in this movie. Spoilers.
They you could tell there's 2 camera shots where he touched the carpet and the carpet started burning.
Oh, really?
And that was
I
like-
didn't even notice that.
Because instead of just like the crumble, it was like he touched it and you could just see ashes.
Okay. So they
And-
hinted at that, but they didn't play with that at all.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
I don't know if you noticed the wave heat effect.
yeah, he
behind
was
him.
steaming,
He was steaming up.
but
But it wasn't like the Incredible Hulk where he's just obviously getting stronger, which they don't really play with in Marvel
No.
anyway.
no.
Not since the original Incredible Hulk movie.
I think Hulk is overall a character they didn't know what to do with because the power scaling gets so confusing. It's like, how strong is this guy? What
Yeah.
can he do? How much control does Banner have, if any? It's
Yeah.
like,
And the thing is,
he's a
too-
complicated character on screen. He just does not work on screen, I feel like.
Yeah, it's the main thing they had to establish, which I don't think they ever established in any of the other movies,
Yeah.
ironically enough, is how strong is Hulk versus Vibranium,
Yeah.
which I don't think they ever have done.
I don't think so. There's
Because
no.
we've
power
had
scaling.
Thor's hammer hit the Vibranium.
Thor's hammer hit Cap Shield in Avengers 1, right?
Avengers 1, 2, and the final movie.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He hits it with his own hammer. Remember, he
Yeah.
does the own pulse against Thanos.
Yeah.
So it has an effect. But however, we've never seen Hulk punch the vibranium shield.
yeah.
So we have no idea what would happen. This could have been an amazing moment where it's like, oh, how reflective is vibranium in terms of power reflective?
Right.
Because that's the thing we really needed to know going into this. Because sometimes in other movies, it's just a hard metal, and the true effects of the comics is it literally comes to zero when it comes to physical attacks.
Vibranium reduces like energy to zero.
It would it takes away the force.
Okay.
So that's what I always understood as a kid, the idea. So you punch it, nothing should happen to the user on the other side.
Yeah.
It's a net zero. So
I think. Oh man, is vibranium
Oh, man,
straight
it's-
magic? Because the
that's- yeah.
shield in the first scene, I made a special note of it in my mind because I was like, this shield has a mind of its own.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
there's a scene. Okay, so the first scene, they're doing a mission where they're trying to get a package.
yeah, and hostages.
And hostages from this guy who's Giancarlo Esposito. He's some big deal. He's got a package. He's looking for a buyer. They're trying to recover the package. And there's an extraction with it was a pretty good action sequence, I would say.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
decent. I find that the first scene in all these movies is always pretty good. They always have this sort of like non sequitur
Mm-hmm.
sequence where it's like you have a bunch of fun stuff going on.
And they established a few things, which I wanted to.
Yeah, they established a few things. But there's one point where he throws the shield blind into a room of like 4 guys, and it just like auto targets the guys. It auto targets the guys' heads like we're playing a video game. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude, this shield is alive at this point.
It knows. It's like the a Dragon Slayer. It's been through so many opponents. It's developed its own.
And I
aura.
know that the bouncing shield is always kind of campy,
Yeah,
and it's been sort of treated campy in the movies.
but I was never sure if that it works that way because Cap can throw it so friggin' hard
Yeah,
versus like anybody can throw it.
it does feel like there has to be like a super soldier.
That makes
serum.
it work
Yeah,
properly.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, that scene. There's a lot of stuff in that scene that confused me. So
what confused it the most? Because I'll tell you what confused me the
it
most.
kept giving like I felt like it kept giving like extra camera to like random bad guys. So like Giancarlo Esposito is like the main bad guy there. He has to get away because he's in other parts of the movies. So then he's like, "Oh, here's my guy to come fight you," and he has that pretty extended fight scene with that guy.
Yes.
And he like takes off his mask as if I'm supposed to know who it is.
Yeah, he takes off his sunglasses.
He takes off his sunglasses, and then he makes a comment about taking the star from his uniform. He's like, "I'm gonna add it to my collection." I was like, "Who is this guy?"
I was like, yeah, exactly the same thing. I was thinking like, this dude.
Yeah.
And the thing that I noticed that I think was like, your brain noticed kind of moment was he cut the suit.
He cut the suit.
So the suit is not vibranium.
Suit's
He's
not
just wearing
vibranium.
pajamas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, why are you just wearing pajamas if you're running into gunfire all the time?
Yeah, it seems a little implausible.
If they're gonna give you vibranium wings, why aren't they giving you a vibranium like
Especially because,
chest plates?
from what I understand, this position of being Captain America is somewhat political, right? That's something they dealt with in the show, which I didn't see. But it seems like if you're going to soup your guy up with...
You don't know what happens in the show.
Yeah.
I know what happens in the show. The show has one of the worst
Yeah.
reverse strawmen.
Really?
They try to strawman the new Captain America, and if you just look at what he does, he's right.
is that the
he's
John
right
Walker
every
guy?
single time.
He's the guy that's in the Thunderbolts, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm sorry to say,
Controversial opinion.
controversial opinion, that dude was right.
Yeah.
Bucky and Anthony Mackie just fucked up his shit the entire time. When he had all the political backing to do his mission,
Yeah.
those two kept fucking it up the entire time. I'm not
Really?
gonna lie.
Wow.
And they were wrong, and then they made him look like an idiot. And then he still made the right choice at the end of the show
Yeah.
to give up the shield to save some civilians.
Okay.
Which so he still made his own little sacrifice. Even then, he still took the fall to make it to be made look like an idiot.
Well, I assume people must have liked that character because they're clearly trying to rehabilitate him in the new Thunderbolts movie.
I think
It's
so
like
too.
He's gonna come back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know about the TV shows. I just can't.
No worries. Honestly.
Yeah. So after the cool intro sequence, which was a fun little action.
Yeah. It establishes
He
what
very
he can do.
very implausibly he's diving at the Earth at supersonic speed. We know that because
dead.
he lands on
breaks,
his feet.
You see him break the sound barrier.
Yeah, and then he waits he's like, wait for it. And then the sonic boom like catches up to him and knocks out the guys.
Yeah.
How did he land on the ground? going supersonic.
Well, see, that was the funny part too, because
It's
he
like, dude, I take a step on the stairs wrong. There's risk of me breaking my ankle.
I was like, yeah, because friggin', I kind of want to see the camera shot slowed down
Yeah.
because he changes direction one human height length before the ground,
Yeah.
and just changes and stops.
Yeah.
And this is very much a kid's action figure where you're like going like this, and you're like, and he stops right here.
Yeah. So
Because they had that in Iron Man, where Iron Man jumps off the tower in Avengers, and he does the stop and then turn
Yeah.
when he gets the suit on him.
yeah. What he's
I
calling
remember someone did the math. He would rip his own insides out, and 100% Anthony Mackie would do the same, if not worse.
Yes, and now because we're at a character with no super serum,
No
'Cause
super serum, no shell.
He's done some stupid stuff. Like I remember in is it Cap 2 or 3 where he dives into the ocean with no parachute?
Yeah, and he can take it.
Yeah, but it's like now we don't have the ambiguous amount that the super soldier serum has
Yeah.
been. Another thing is, I thought in Cap 1 he only made one serum. Now a significant plot point in this seems to be there was another Cap that they made, and
So-
as far as I know, it's never been mentioned. So it must be something for comic book readers only. I have no idea what's going on, and they don't do a good job explaining it.
Well, as I think many comic book knowers and other moviegoers know, there's been multiple attempts for another super soldier serum.
Okay.
The Hulk was the main.
Oh,
one
that's what the
behind-
Hulk is.
The
Okay.
Hulk is another attempt at the super soldier serum.
So how come they only nailed it for Bucky and Cap?
So Bucky was the Russian version,
Right.
So the Russians nailed it, and then they gave it to
The Red Guardian.
the
as
Red
well?
Guardian after that.
Okay.
And what happened in why the new people have some super soldier serums is because in the Bucky show,
Oh, so there are people with it now.
there's a new version.
Okay, because he makes reference to several times about how he should have taken the serum.
Yes.
And I'm just like, you definitely should have, buddy.
Yeah.
What's the issue here? It'd make the movie a lot cooler if you were a super guy.
Yeah, and I'm not even because I think I don't think in the comics he ever takes it. I can't say I've ever read a Falcon Captain America comic, to be honest, because it
No.
never intrigued me to read it. I'm just not that guy. But it's definitely, you're right. I think it would have made it more interesting because it gives you that fun factor.
Yeah.
Because he's fighting a goon in the first scene, like we were talking about.
Yeah,
and
it's
he's just a 6'6" guy. Sorry.
Yeah, he could have conceivably lost.
He could have conceivably lost when he got
It was
thrown.
kind of close. It was kind of close.
He could have been. Well, I can't remember that movie, that boxing movie where the girl lands on her neck on the chair.
Oh, $1 Million Baby.
$1 Million Baby.
Yeah.
He could have $1 Million Baby on that church pew
Yeah.
when he got thrown through it, and he just like, "Oh, are you okay?"
Yeah, that's the end
I'm
of
sorry.
Captain America.
I was going to Captain America. He got his neck broken on a church pew.
Yeah. I mean, and to be honest, the actor they're working with, Anthony Mackie, he's not the most intimidating guy.
No, he is a good actor.
He's a good
He had a
actor.
few scenes, especially the last scene.
But there is some physicality that like some of the beefier guys, like Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, they're both huge.
They took his shirt off.
Yeah.
You saw he has the pecs.
I know, but he's not 6'4" like Thor. He's not even 6'2" like Chris Evans.
Yeah.
And he's not mega jacked. He doesn't have the chin.
How tall is he?
I don't know. We're gonna look.
Oh, yeah.
All right, he's 5'10".
He's 5'10", which means he's actually 5'6". So
He's listed as 5'10". He doesn't have the biggest jaw either. So it's
I think his shoulders are great, and I think he has the right profile overall.
he's definitely athletic and he does the action scenes well, but at the same time it's like I don't know.
When he's fighting some
We need
dudes.
that serum. We need that serum.
Yeah, if he had the serum, I would believe more, obviously.
Yeah.
Because there's a part at the end when the Red Hulk is I think I told you I had a problem with that, where he's turning around and is gonna baseball bat like 10 people and like cut all their heads off with a flagpole, the American flagpole that was on top of the White House, and Anthony Mackie stops it dead hand.
Yeah.
No, like with just a jetpack to
Yeah.
counteract it, and
It's like that would shatter every bone in
that
your
would
body.
shatter every bone in your body. And just, I mean, because it's like, are we downplaying the Hulk? Or are we increasing Mackie?
That's the problem. I think Marvel needs, I think I made this complaint before. I think they need someone whose full-time job is to power scale. They have to consult them.
S to F rank guy.
Yeah,
He's
they
just
have to
constantly
consult them
adjusting.
for every action scene. Just like, is it plausible for him to do this? And the power scaler has to be like, well, in the current rankings, actually, that's not plausible. We
And I
can't
think-
have that.
I think that's part of the problem too, because
There's no consistency between movies.
there's no consistency between movies. There's too many things now, so I don't
Yeah.
think they can keep track
There's
of that
way
stuff.
too many things.
And I think that's part of the main problem with Marvel. I think we've
Yeah.
talked about that before. There's
Yeah.
too many things to keep a track of, and we already mentioned we haven't even seen 2 out of the 3 things we needed to see. Before
Yeah, and
this
I'm
movie.
feeling lost because okay, going back to the character, the other Cap that failed, I think his name was Isaiah Bradley.
Yes, he is also in the show.
Yeah. So the next section of the movie sort of focuses on this
The tragic character.
maybe like mentor mentee relationship
Yeah.
between him and this older Cap.
Yes.
And I did not care at all. The character just shows up in this movie and they try to retread the plot of Winter Soldier, which was 2 movies ago now,
Yeah.
right? And it's just Winter Soldier, but worse with characters I don't care about because I don't know them.
Yes.
It's like with Cap and Bucky, there was this like big emotional connection because they were buddies in the war. They're the only people that are 100 years old.
Yeah.
And you
They
know,
had
it's
a long history.
a long history, and they
And
introduced this
before that,
character.
even, they were neighbors.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And this character, he just comes out of nowhere. I don't get a sense of brotherly bonding because there's such an age gap. It's like the
Yeah.
mentor mentee thing, and it's a character I never knew about.
They definitely.
And he's old. There's too many old men in this movie.
Yes.
Harrison
Yeah.
Ford, old. He was looking old.
I mean, yeah.
The Isaiah Bradley guy, old. Get him out of here.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's, it was very funny to me at least, because I was watching this and watching him on the bike.
Yeah.
That's exactly what my dad does.
Yeah.
And no marks on my dad. I love you, man. Yeah, but at the same time, I was just like, will my dad fight Anthony Mackie? Like this,
I know.
this is
It's
kind of
brutal.
weird that I'm seeing my dad in a film like this.
Yeah, so they try to retread the same beats as Winter Soldier, where it's like, oh, this guy, like, he does a crime. It ends up being the old Cap.
Does a brainwash.
He gets brainwashed and he tries to kill the president, which is Harrison Ford. And it really looks like he's going to succeed.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, I almost think they missed out on another scene. I think they cut a scene
where he actually does get shot.
where he gets shot, but he's Red Hulk, so
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt him.
It does feel like that.
I thought that
because-
was really what's going to happen.
Yeah, I
Or,
thought there was going to be some intrigue where they're just like, how did he survive?
oh, there's ash all over his shirt.
Yeah.
It burned it away or something. Like,
Yeah.
something like cool like that.
There's definitely some stuff cut. But for this section of the movie, there's a long, I think almost an hour, where there's not, is it 40 minutes maybe? Where there's no action scenes really? And it's kind of just him going from place to place, trying
Yeah.
to put things together. Because
And-
it's like, He goes to the White House, and then he gets to go to jail to talk to this guy, and then he gets to go to this guy to talk to this, and then they finally end up at the black site.
Yes.
There's still no action until
They start fighting guards at the
until that. I think that's the next action scene.
One last thing about the old men in the movie. They made that poor old man who portrayed Isaiah run in DC.
Oh yeah.
And the whole time I was like, stop making him run. Oh, he's old. Stop. He doesn't want to run.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a super soldier running. It just feels like this poor guy he was 66 and they made him run down the streets of Washington.
And also, I don't count that as an action scene.
No, I do not.
Yeah.
No.
It was too sloppy for me.
It's very sloppy. But yes, so the other part I have a huge problem with in this movie is the instant brainwash.
Yeah.
Via cell phone or via audio cue.
It's audio cue.
And there was no explanation to that. Not that I necessarily need one. However, it was the weakest form of brainwash I could ever imagine.
Super lazy, very uncreative.
Super lazy, very uncreative.
And it just allows for anyone to do anything. So it's like whatever the plot needs, it's like that's just going to happen because of brainwashing.
Yeah. And there was
there
was no rules about it.
No,
either.
no rules.
So because there's a point where the new Falcon plays it in an open room and nobody starts doing anything. He's like, oh, I guess we're fine.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wait, what?
Yeah, so they're triggered by some song, and then he just plays it to fish him out. I was like, huh.
That was a bad idea, A. But B, also, why does it not work? That's the thing. Why does it work or does it not work? That was never established.
So it seemed like at first, like you had to be in the cell. You had to go to the black site and you had to do something to the villain, which we haven't talked about yet. It seemed like you had to do something, but then I think Isaiah was getting programmed by his phone.
He had flashed on his phone.
Yeah.
Which it seems more reasonable than just audio cue.
Yeah.
But anytime
and
in a movie...
How does the simple audio tell you exactly what your mission is, though?
It does not.
There's a lot.
So I was going to say,
yeah,
they're making huge jumps because if anybody knows from, say, like a James Bond movie or something, anytime someone is audio cued by a word, like you say Johnny Appleseed or something, there's a code word and then it activates a sleeper agent.
Yeah.
It's because the sleeper agent has been
thoroughly conditioned
to have that word initiate a very specific set of responses.
Yeah.
And that's why Winter Soldier had that word and he would say it in Russian, basically stop or whatever, and it would stop him. And there were conditioning words to that. And Zemo had said those words to stop him.
Yeah. It was like a phrase.
It was a whole phrase, yeah. So that's what that is. So for him to do that to 5 soldiers in the room plus him, I would almost want to believe just him because he said he was experimented on for 30 years.
Yeah, just him I could believe.
But he does it to anyone and everyone who was a soldier.
Yeah, whenever he needs it.
You don't see him do it to a civilian. They always have the category of soldier.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're implying that every single American soldier is brainwashed at all times. That's very rude. First of all.
The movie's political, guys.
It's hyper political on a scale which we did not imagine.
Yeah.
But that's the implication I received while watching the movie.
Yeah.
And I feel that's very insulting to anybody who's in the military.
Yeah, so for this whole section of movie, it becomes more towards sort of like a political intrigue thriller.
Yes.
Which I actually thought was an interesting direction to take.
Yeah.
However, it's just executed so clumsily. It doesn't matter to me, and I got very bored. Very bored.
Yeah, I could tell. I thought you fell asleep.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you if you did fall asleep, but
no,
I knew you didn't.
I stayed awake.
And the part that I thought you fell asleep during was one of the final action scenes.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, this whole movie, the whole section of this movie is him dealing with political intrigue, and he's trying to figure out like who's behind this, like who could have activated the sleeper cell. So they finally end up at the CIA black site, which is kind of funny. And they find the villain, and the villain is just like Hulk brain guy.
So yeah,
who is this guy?
So you don't know who this guy is, but and this is the same actor too.
Yeah.
So props to them for actually getting the same actor and everything. But from the Incredible Hulk movie, he tries to help Bruce suppress the Hulk.
Oh.
And so in
So is he kind of a good guy?
no,
Okay.
he creates the Abomination.
Oh.
So during the movie of the Incredible Hulk, they are giving super soldier serum to the guy who becomes the Abomination.
Okay.
A new version.
Yeah.
So they're giving a new version of him, and it's working. There's 2 scenes or so where he fights him on like a Captain America level versus
Yeah.
the Hulk, and it doesn't work because the strength difference is too great.
Yeah.
So there's a point where he comes in contact with this scientist after he tries to help Bruce Banner, and so he says, "I want what Bruce Banner has." And he's like, I don't know if you can handle it, and I don't know what you already have in you. And he's like, I don't care, give it to me anyway. And that's how he becomes the Abomination. Mm-hmm. Abomination bumps him, and he gets a cut on his head, and Bruce Banner's blood plus Abomination stuff gets into his cut only on his brain, and you see his brain start gesticulating. And you're like, oh, we're,
that was in the movie?
That was in the Incredible Hulk movie.
Wow. So like
20 years ago or
That's
whatever
crazy.
it was. No, actually, I think it's almost 18 or 17 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah, if you didn't remember that, that one factoid, but I can't remember what the character's name is called, but he's definitely like the Thinker or something.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call him like Hulk Brain.
He's Hulk Brain, and
So he had his reveal, which did not feel very.
but he was definitely the Zemo. Not Zemo, sorry. What is the other character that was the computerized Nazi during Winter Soldier?
Yeah, I forgot his name.
But
it was
he-
almost that exact scene
It
from
was
Winter Soldier.
It was a shot-by-shot
That's crazy.
recreation of that kind of
Yeah,
scenario.
they go into a thing and it's like, oh,
We
computer
go to the black
Nazi.
site,
Yeah.
and we go find a computer Nazi.
But the computer Nazi was way cooler than Hulk Brain.
Yeah.
So one of my big criticisms is that the villain of this movie he's like a charisma void,
He's a charisma void. He's a think tank.
and maybe that's like intentional, like because he's like an egghead, so he's not cool. He's like lame.
Yeah,
But man, when that's your villain, it's like it's hard for me to be invested.
because all he's trying to do is
according to my calculations, you
Yeah.
had a 90% chance of doing this. It's
Yeah.
like, shut up, nerd.
yeah. Well, that was the part too. He was wrong about his own calculation,
Yeah.
which made me upset.
Of course, the movie relies on him being wrong.
Well, for that, yeah. So, but in my head, he should have said the opposite. Like, I knew you'd come here.
Yeah.
Like that would have easily been as much because then he had a trap set for them and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like
I assume he had something for every
scenario.
scenario except for the one where he just loses in the end.
Apparently, because his main goal
Yeah.
is to have the Red Hulk be activated during this conflict with Japan.
Which it just seems like such a lame goal. It's like you just want to embarrass him by having him turn into Red Hulk
And
like presumably just like what, wreck a bunch of things and like kill a bunch of people. That's
Yeah.
the whole thing.
yeah, so it's like I get that the ultimate embarrassment is to have him become a Hulk
Yeah.
because he spent years trying to hunt the Hulk.
Oh, okay. So there is an irony angle.
There's
which
an
I was
irony
not
angle
aware of.
there where he becomes a Hulk and can't control himself.
Okay.
However, I think
I was not aware of that angle. That
I
makes
was
it a
like-
little better,
I think
but
so.
the movie does nothing to educate the
No.
viewer on that.
Well,
so it's
no,
like-
there's a scene where he goes. They show a clip when he had a mustache, and he's like,
Yeah.
he's like, I hate the Hulk, and he slams his hand on the desk. He has a temper just like Banner.
Yeah, they're definitely they tried to make this character seem more important than I think he has been. 'Cause it's like I don't know who this
He
guy
only
is.
appeared in 2 movies before this.
Oh, okay, 2 movies.
So-
Nice.
Um,
As a different actor, though, right?
as the different actor, yes.
Right.
Or I think it might have been 3 tops.
Wow.
So he was in the original Incredible Hulk movie.
Yeah.
And then he was in the Captain America 3.
Oh, was he?
Yes.
Okay, I remember that movie pretty well.
He was the one that did the Sokovia Accords.
Oh, they did mention that.
So he's like,
Okay.
I'm Ross, and you need to do what I say.
Okay.
And, that's why him and Captain America butt heads.
And did that actor die too? They just had bad luck with this actor.
Well, that was the same actor.
Oh, same actor. Okay.
And then now he's Harrison Ford.
Another old guy.
Yeah, another old guy who's, unfortunately,
We're not going to rely on another movie from this guy.
I would not. Which is why they wrote him off
Yeah,
already.
he's off in the island
He's,
or
he's
whatever.
already in the raft.
The raft. What is the raft?
The raft is the superhero prison.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool concept. Cool concept.
So,
Spoilers. He goes to jail.
well, they had the raft in Captain America, the last Captain America.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's where they put them all temporarily.
Or maybe I don't remember as much as I thought.
You really don't.
Yeah.
So the other big beef I have from this movie is Japan has an army,
Yeah.
a standing military, which is almost more unbelievable than the Red Hulk himself.
Yeah, okay, so one of the other big central plots revolves around something, I guess, from the Eternals. How there's just like a big robot
Yeah,
in the ocean, and he's made of adamantium,
which is the part I don't understand.
which is,
I
well,
don't know if that's from the comics, if he's actually made of adamantium.
I have no idea.
It's a celestial being.
But adamantium is basically just like a room temperature superconductor. It's super cool. It's going to usher in a new age. So all the countries are like fighting over who's going to own it.
Yeah.
And Ross, I guess, wants his big legacy to be, I'm going to make this deal happen where we all get equal and we like share. And it's like a new age of peace.
Yes.
Which is, I guess, not this guy's MO.
No, absolutely not.
And so everyone's just like, I don't know. He's kind of sus, guys.
Which is the ultimate funny thing to me, because he actually was trying.
Yeah.
So like there was no point where he was like, I'm gonna steal it all and make 500 Wolverines.
No, there was no double cross.
There was no triple double cross or anything. It was all the Brain Hulk trying to sabotage him,
Yeah.
which is kind of sad in the end, where you're like, oh man, he really was trying, man. He was
trying.
trying. And
They're definitely rehabbing his character, I guess, if he was like a bad guy
he
before
was,
this.
yeah. So he was definitely just used in this movie to be the ultimate weapon for Brain Hulk's
So
plan.
anyway, these new Accords that are going to split up this new material evenly, that's kind of like the main thing of the movie, I guess. And Brain Hulk is trying to make this go bad and make it look like it's Ross's fault. And apparently Japan has a standing military, like you said. They've got like F-18s or
They have, and they have a big dogfight at the end.
yeah. So I think that was
but
my
they play
favorite
it down
action
to
scene.
a minor dogfight in the news, right? Which I thought was, I almost laughed out loud. I was like, "There's no such thing as a minor dogfight."
Maybe it's commenting on how things would be reported. It's like, ha ha ha, news media.
Get my best spin artist on this, baby.
Yeah, get
like,
the spin doctors.
Get the spin doctors on this. Like it's like that scene from RoboCop 2. Like,
Yeah.
put your best spin team on this now.
So
So ultimately, in the end, I feel like who gives a rat's ass?
yeah, it's just a boring plot.
It's a very boring
I didn't care
plot.
that much. The stakes didn't feel super high.
No.
And maybe they don't have to. Maybe you can have smaller movies.
Yeah,
But
there,
the emotional stakes, I did not care at all
there was
about.
no attachment to Mackie in this movie. I felt like the only attachment to Mackie was when Bucky shows up for 2 minutes and tells him he loves him.
Yeah, they have a nice little heartwarming scene.
They finally come out as lovers.
Yeah, Bucky has a boring life now. He's a
congressman. He's not even a
he's
senator.
a senator.
He's not. Well, we don't even get to make the superpower senator line from
Metal Gear
Revengeance.
Rise.
Yeah. Don't mess with this senator.
So he's boring now, but he's gonna be in Thunderbolts, so it's fine.
It's fine, I guess.
Oh.
But it's a very fall flat plot. It's obviously a clone of the Winter Soldier.
It's just Winter Soldier, but worse.
It's Winter Soldier, but worse.
So you can't help but think like the Steve Rogers version was better. So it's like you're just setting up Mackie for failure, because it was always going to be hard for him to take the mantle. There was no way.
No, there's no way. It
It's never going to be clean. And then they just like, remember that movie that was actually pretty good. Like of all the Marvel movies, Winter Soldier I think is one of my top rated.
Yeah,
It's
most
almost
people's.
good enough to break out of comic movie into like movie.
To just movie. Yeah. And which is so sad because
So then Marvel just like served us up on a plate. It's like, remember that, but worse, and also new Captain America that is not as popular. It's like, oh, thank you, I'll pass.
yeah, which is really sad because I mean, most of his connection, I mean, like I said, most of his connection is to Bucky and Steve.
Yeah,
So without them in the movie, he feels,
he has no emotional heart.
and they kind of tell you,
Yeah, they really have to tell you. He's got this buddy-buddy relationship with the new Falcon, who's just like some kid.
and they're like, oh, and I spent the last 5 years training with super old Captain America.
Who again, I just don't care about at all. Like
And
I
it's
just
like-
found about him in this movie, and
Exactly.
it's like, ooh. It's rough. It's rough out there for the new cap.
which is I get, I get what the angle they're going for. Like I've had a father figure like that in my life. Where
Yeah.
it's like this person, I definitely get it. But at the same, at the same time, it's not. It doesn't hit home.
It's
I
got to
don't
be
know how
more
many people
established.
it's
I
going to
think
hit home for.
it's got to be more established.
It's got to be well more established. And
And when you're serving up a reheated version that's not as good, the microwave version of Winter Soldier.
and worse than that too. They even had the microwave version of Black Widow in here too.
Oh, I forgot to talk about that.
Yeah.
So Ross's big security agent specialist is this
Ex-Israeli.
ex-Israeli Black Widow. They mentioned she's Black Widow trained, which I guess
Yeah.
was like
And
probably
they-
in the Black Widow movie, which I also haven't seen.
And
Is
they
that another
also-
connection?
Well, because they destroyed the Red Room, which was the primary area where they all come from. I think.
Okay, yeah.
So there, I imagine there's just like 5,000 Black Widows around the world doing dirt, and
But-
she's just one of them.
Yeah, this woman at first she looks like she's just a suit, but then when they get to the black
I
black
thought she
side,
was a super soldier.
no, I thought she was like a suit, like she's just there. She's like, oh, I'm a security
I'm a
guy.
politician.
Yeah, I'm a politician. But then it turns out she's. Did you mention she's a Black Widow?
Yeah.
And they go to the when it's the black site, she shows back up in kind of like Black Widow gear.
But she doesn't do anything with it.
No, she takes down like 4 dudes, and I'm putting my foot down, guys. We have to.
She's 4'5", by the
She
way.
is 4'5". She is a miniature person. If she weighs more than 91 pounds, I would be surprised. We have to stop doing this. I'm a fairly large man. I go to the gym. Your average soldier goes to the gym, and if I was to take a damage from her, if I was to take a punch from her, I would take 1 damage. And if I had basic body armor like the soldiers do in the shot, I would take 0 damage. I would actually take 0
Yeah.
damage.
I mean, like it's.
I'm
She
suspending.
doesn't even use the suspension of disbelief when Black Widow uses the gadgets, like the zap gadgets.
Yeah,
and
there was
the
no. She just like
stunners.
straight up throws these guys around.
Which is maybe what's like I said. I thought she was super soldier.
Super
Like,
soldier
oh
Black
man,
Widow.
that's hilarious. A super soldier that's 4'5".
Yeah,
That is the ultimate. I didn't see it coming
yeah, that's very funny.
because it's like it's
Comedic.
like oh that's your security guard, and then she punches you and you go through a wall, and
Yeah.
you're like oh Jesus. But she's like no, I'm just a Black Widow, and you're like okay, I guess.
Yeah.
That makes you on the same level as
We-
like
we
Isaiah Bradley.
have to stop. We have to stop. I'm suspending my disbelief for Mackie taking a Red Hulk punch, but
So, but it's very odd with this movie. So we have a lot of modern American political things going on here. We have the Israeli ex-soldier.
yeah,
We have a red American president.
yeah,
We have the black man opposition who's being more patriotic. It's like they're trying to like set up like what's like almost feels like what's happening in America on some level.
yeah. I bet there's a version of this movie that goes hard in on something. I don't know what that something is.
And
They
I
have a
think
lot of
that's what they
something set up.
changed, honestly.
Yeah, they
They're
probably
like,
do.
okay, we went too far, I think, and they had to backpedal.
Yeah, I think is people are just like kind of tired. Like
Yeah.
not only tired of like Marvel movies, but they're tired of like that angle too.
Yeah.
So it's like there might have been a version of this movie that had teeth and it was like saying something.
Big Red Man bad.
Yeah, Big Red Man Bad. That could have been the angle. And then they just they backed off and they made it toothless and they made it boring and they reshot it like 4 times and it's like 4 different movies coupled together.
And now they're like, oh, we have to try to work together.
Yeah.
And that's like the ultimate episode, the ultimate thing at the end where he's like, you know, I get we're on separate sides, but I wanted to say hi, and you know, we're at the end of the day we were both soldiers,
It did end on a nice note.
which is fine.
But one thing I felt
appreciate
lied to
it.
about the newer trailers is they showed Red Hulk predominantly. And the Red Hulk scene is only 10 minutes.
And he doesn't do much.
He doesn't do too much. I was a little disappointed because when he was kind of causing mayhem, I was
Yeah.
starting to enjoy the movie again. I was like, oh, Hulk is actually kind of fun sometimes.
Well, so the other thing to me was I don't think he killed anybody.
No, I don't think so. I think they protected everyone.
So you probably didn't notice, but I did.
Yeah.
There's one shot where they're talking about what happened in Harlem, with
Oh, I
the
remember
Hulk.
that line. Yeah, what was that?
So that was what happened in the Incredible Hulk movie.
Oh, okay.
That everything that happened is in Harlem, and they mention it in one of the Avengers movies. Like, oh, last time I was in New York, I broke Harlem.
Oh,
So that's the line.
okay.
That reference to the movie. So there's a shot, the only shot I've seen in the entire movie where you see Abomination, original Abomination look, and he arm swipes like 10 civilians and they go flying, and he does it again, and you're like, yeah, all those people are dead.
They're definitely dead.
They're definitely dead. And there is no point where you see Red Hulk punch a person,
No.
slap a person, anything that would make you think he kills anybody, which maybe is to preserve the image of Ross and the president
Yeah.
in this scenario.
Yeah.
Because,
It almost seemed like he was more in control than your average Hulk.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
He's
Anthony
mad.
Mackie talks him down.
Yeah. Let's talk about the end.
Yes, I'll let you say it because you said it after the movie.
So the climax of this movie, I guess because they couldn't think of anything better in the 4 reshoots or the 4 rewrites of this movie that's happened,
Yeah,
he actually uses Naruto's Talk no Jutsu. That's the end of the movie.
yeah.
The end of the movie is Red Hulk beats him pretty thoroughly. He loses all of his stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the shield. He doesn't have the wings. They get clipped.
He clips his wings.
And
literally.
then he just kind of stands up and he's like, please don't be a bad guy anymore. And that works.
It somehow works. And you're like, the only thing I thought they would do, which is weird because they did it at the end, which is Betsy actually shows up.
Yeah.
She shows up.
Tyler's in the movie for all of 10 seconds.
Yeah, and she shows up for 10 seconds, which I thought she was going to show up at the end to talk him down.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a better thing.
That would have been a better thing. It would have made more sense where it's like, oh, because she calls him right before.
Yeah, that's true.
And she's like, I want to talk, let's go. You did a great job, Dad. Let's talk in the cherry blossoms like we used to.
Yeah.
And you could tell he's like, oh my God, everything I ever wanted is right here.
Yeah, it's weird that he goes Red Hulk after that.
It's because the other guy spoils it.
And then he activates his kill switch plan.
Yeah.
Because before that, the villain also gets caught on purpose. He says that has to happen. And it's like, why?
Because then he gets to talk, I guess.
But he played a message of the little voice call they had earlier.
Which he could have done from anywhere.
He definitely
in
could have done that
America.
from anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's
because if you
just
can
like,
brainwash someone from anywhere, you can definitely play a clip from anywhere.
yeah, this villain, what's that phrase where it's like a character can only be as smart as the writer or something?
Oh yeah.
It's like this is a supposed Hulk brain giga genius, and he's just like, oh, my plan failed. I guess I'll turn myself in.
Yeah. It's like, oh well, I need the movie to end.
Yeah.
And I need him to be summed up so we know where he is, because he's also in the raft.
God, this movie sucked.
Yeah. There's no point. So
There should have been like 30% more Red Hulk mayhem.
yes.
He should have gone Red Hulks like several times, but I guess for the sake of the movie, it wouldn't really make sense for him to go back to being president after that.
I think they should. Yeah.
They couldn't even figure out a way to write that. Like,
No.
man, this sucks. We can't even have like the main.
I think they should have not cut. Maybe they should have just cut the whole Japan dogfight, honestly.
Even though that was my favorite scene.
I don't think it had any significance to me, honestly.
No, not really.
I was not.
But that was Mackey's
I'm
best.
surprised you were enthralled, because I was not enthralled whatsoever.
That was his best moment to shine. It felt like that was like his.
That was
his
the most.
zone.
That was his tone. That was the most Captain America of the entire movie.
Yeah,
to be
it's
honest.
just like I just managed to subvert a major international event and like save countless lives and also prevent a war potentially.
Yes, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I did not care.
Didn't like him. Yeah,
No.
it's fair.
The only part I really was intrigued on was when they came close to the black cell,
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was a fun scene as well.
That was the most fun scene to me, and I don't know. It just like you said, most of it just fell flat. Unfortunately,
It was just kind of boring.
and I also thought it was funny though that he was driving the biggest truck I could ever imagine.
The big GMC truck.
Yeah, the big GMC truck. I was just like,
Government Motors, don't forget.
Government Motors, and the largest, most gas guzzling thing I ever saw.
Do you think the Japan scene was in there to tie it to the cherry blossoms? Because that was like It was sort of a peace with Japan, and the cherry blossoms were a gift from the Japanese.
Well, which is such a weird phrase to say. Period. The peace with Japan.
Yeah. Or
I think that happened in 1940. You know what I mean? Like,
It's the second piece. The second piece of Japan also happens with the cherry blossoms, and
but it's like,
someone had some themes going on there. This movie might have had themes at some point.
but why? But why is Japan
It was weird to have Japan be like the aggressor.
the force? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
It
that.
made more sense when he was talking to France and India.
Yeah, because it's in the Indian Ocean. Why would India not just instantly claim it?
Exactly.
They're just like, all right, it's our time. We're superpower boys.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I would have thought. Like, okay, we have literally 1 billion people to start mining this thing.
Yeah. Well, this movie is probably not written by a political science major. It's probably written by an English major.
But I mean, also the two powers in that area. It definitely. I don't know why France was in that call whatsoever. In my mind, it would just be China, India, maybe Japan.
Yeah. It's you can tell they always don't mention China because they still sell the movies to Chinese audiences.
Yes,
But obviously, China would be hot on that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I think that's why Japan is the ultimate. Like, oh, we'll just use Japan instead. Everyone knows Japan.
Everyone knows Japan.
But-
Everybody likes Japan.
But we
though.
can't say China.
We can't say China.
And we can't say North Korea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it would have made more sense to me to say China or India, because Japan is just the United States, as we know, because the United States took over all external military parts of Japan. Japan only has a self-defense force.
I guess this is just like an alternate timeline where Thanos snapped everything and then they got their own military after that or something.
I suppose so.
And they're also aggressive to the United States now, even though they're one of our closest trade allies. But
I know. You think they would be like, oh yeah, we'll mine the adamantium and then trade it to you.
but we're at the point where we're overthinking a Marvel movie where he used Naruto's best work to end the conflict. So we might be in the weeds. We might be lost in the weeds here.
I think so, because like I said, okay, let's put a number on it then, I guess.
A number out of 10?
Out of 10.
I'm gonna give this a brutal 4 out of 10.
Oh, I was going lower. I was going to say 2.5.
2.5.
This is not.
2.5 is pretty.
I
bad.
wasn't angry. Okay, maybe I should rise it if I wasn't angry.
I wasn't angry.
Okay,
No.
so if I wasn't angry, I'm going to give it a 3.5.
3.5.
I'm
Okay.
going to have to go a little lower than you.
How did you feel about visually of this movie? Was it ugly? Because
There was only 2 scenes I liked.
I didn't think that
visually.
the CG was disgustingly ugly. Like I've had with some other Marvel movies. I've had that complaint where I was like, this is very ugly to look at.
I thought it was ugly.
That was ugly.
I thought it was ugly. And because especially so
I wanted to ask you
the
when I
blue
saw the
screen,
trailer.
when he comes in
Yeah.
to face Red Hulk and he flies in and then stands in front of him.
Yeah.
That was the most blue screen. I was like, oh, welcome to the blue screen.
Yeah. The trailer for Thunderbolts, which is another Marvel movie,
Yes.
and then this movie, I felt like were very dark. There was actually some points where I thought I was losing detail and like the darker blacks of the shot.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, do you think that was a projection problem, or are these movies like color graded like that now?
I think they're color graded like that.
Because it was bad. Like a lot of this movie's bright, but
Yes.
in some of the dark scenes, I was like, I can't tell what's going on. And in the trailer for Thunderbolts, which is another Marvel thing that also looks disgusting.
That was the
ugly,
most gray I've seen in a Marvel movie. For
it was
a while.
so gray. I was like, what is going on? I can't tell. So it's like, are they trying to disguise like lower budget CG with just like make everything gray and ugly and you can't tell?
Maybe, but I just think I just think they dropped the ball,
We live in a cursed era.
and I think no matter what it is, they should always just go with the original ideas and not do these reshoots, because I think the reshoots make things worse.
Yeah, clearly they didn't make it better. Or I would struggle to believe that the movie was worse. I feel like things must have been changed for other reasons, like maybe political, maybe like they're just like, oh, this isn't matching up.
Because in America, that is like the main thing right now.
Yeah,
It was like-
politics.
And you know, nobody wants to watch that in their movie,
Yeah, so maybe it was like recut to just be different.
because honestly, we're all kind of sick of it. We're just like,
Disney's definitely pivoting on their strategy. I think they've reached a point where they're sick of movies tanking, so I think they're gonna do something else.
just
Like how many years away do you think they are from like Iron Man reboot or Captain America reboot or Thor reboot?
reboot.
It's
I
like-
don't think they can do that. You think they can really do that?
What are they gonna do? they're not just gonna like walk away from the Marvel franchise.
No.
But they're at the point where they have to acknowledge that like these side characters are not as popular. They don't get the same draw. No one cares. I don't care.
No.
You don't care.
No.
Nobody
I
cares.
don't care.
But if they were like, we're rebooting Iron Man, which would be kind of a hard sell.
No, I think that's what they tried
Yeah.
with Ironheart.
Oh, is that another TV show?
No, it's another movie that they're gonna.
Does the movie come out?
No.
Okay.
No, that's what I'm saying. So Ironheart is a new character that has Iron Man everything, and
It's not gonna work.
that's what I'm saying. There's no heart to these new things.
Ironic. Ironheart has no heart.
Yeah, ironic.
Ironic.
But they just don't hit the same way because I think it was mostly because these movies were every year, like one movie a year or maybe two.
Yeah.
And only ramped up towards the initial Avengers and the Avengers 2 and Avengers 3
Yeah.
and /4. So the ramping up is the most important part. They started the next era of Marvel with 20 billion things at the same time. So
Yeah.
you had like
all
five
those TV shows.
TV shows, 5 movies all in the same year or whatever it was.
Yeah. Phase 4 Marvel.
And none of it led to an Avengers movie. There was no ultimate team up movie at the end.
Well, also they had their issue with Kang, who was supposed to be the villain of that phase.
Yeah, this was a hard fumble on everything just
Yeah.
because
It's basically every era was a fumble.
they did not plan it well. They had too much going on.
Yeah.
And there was no first plot conclusion. So there was no Avengers team up.
It was just sad. It was
Which
just
I
sad.
think is like the way this is supposed to work. So you had your formula, and then you just didn't want to do it again.
Yeah.
So they fumbled their own thing on it. So they have no one to blame but themselves because they had the formula. Okay, we have
Yeah.
the 3 big boys. We have Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor.
Yeah.
These are our 3 big boys. Everyone else can come in.
People that still
around
sell
them.
movies.
Yeah. The ones that will sell movies, and then we have the people that come in around them.
Yeah.
And like, Scarlett Johansson came in Iron Man 2. We have all the other, like, Hawkeye came in Thor. Like, you have the people coming into the movies that are on the side characters that relating to the main characters.
Yeah.
And the main characters come together in Avengers, and that creates the driving force. And there is, and unfortunately too, Chadwick Boseman did pass away.
Yeah, that's
we had,
really unlucky.
we had deaths of mainline characters that were supposed to spearhead the entire universe towards this next mark. So we had deaths, we had recastings, we had total cannings of Kang's actor. I can't remember his name.
Jonathan Majors.
Majors.
Yeah.
So he's gone too, but there was rumors he's coming back. We don't know. So everything just kind of, but see, that's the thing. They bet on too many horses.
They did. They have too many. It's too big, too messy.
It's the too big to fail thing is the opposite here. it is too big that it will always fail.
Yeah.
And before it was too small not to fail. And because it had so much more eyes on the same thing. Can you imagine watching any of the movies that have come out in the last couple of years other than like maybe Guardians 3 or Deadpool 3 again in any kind of light that resembles Iron Man 1
No. Every time I go back and watch Iron
or
Man,
Winter Soldier?
yeah, I'm reminded of how good that movie is.
So it's like you watch,
Winter Soldier is a pretty good movie.
you could
Iron Man
go
1
on
is a
any
good
airplane
movie.
and watch Iron Man
Yeah.
1 or Winter Soldier again, no problem. Just enjoy it for its sheer enjoyment factor.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
And no movie since that, except for, like we said, Guardians 3 or Deadpool 3,
Yeah.
kind of encapsulate that kind of fun.
No, but also, I have to wonder if we're approaching like a charisma difference because it's
Yeah.
like they're dealing with we don't have Robert Downey Jr. to tie this universe together anymore.
They don't have Chris Evans.
They don't have Chris Evans, and
Who
they're
also-
so desperate. They're going to recast Robert Downey Jr. as
Doom.
Doom.
Yeah.
And I have to wonder if this movie isn't just suffering from like there's not a ton of charisma, which is like
Yeah, and unfortunately, I already think they should recast everyone in Fantastic Four.
yeah.
Because Johnny Storm is wrongly cast in my mind just because he has dark eyes and not blue eyes.
He just looks weird. Like
He looks weird with
with the
blonde
bleached
hair.
blonde hair,
It looks very
but with
odd.
dark eyes.
I am tired of so much. What is Mr. Fantastic's actor again?
Pedro Pascal, I think.
I'm sorry, Mr. Pascal. I do
No.
not want to see you anymore.
I'm done with him.
I'm done with you. No harm, no foul. You're an amazing actor, but I just don't need you in this. You could have been
Please, too much.
too
Overdose.
much. And same with the actress who I only remember from the last Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
So
It was pretty bad casting all the way around.
it was pretty bad casting all around. The Thing was fine.
Good old Ben Grimm.
Go to Ben Grimm. Great voice for Ben Grimm.
He's a rock.
He's a rock, baby. But everyone else, no. And I don't know who is in charge of their hiring anymore for these charisma vacuums who are not going to propel their vision forward. And do they even have a vision any longer is the main question, I think, too.
No. End of an era, boys. Pack it in.
Yeah, it's a sad story. We've all heard it before. You can't have your cake and eat it, too.
Yeah, it's over, guys.
It's over. Sorry.
So, do you recommend?
No, not even for a Cheapskate Tuesday. I'm
No.
sorry. If you catch it for free on an airplane, maybe.
Maybe.
But at the
Probably
same,
wouldn't be able to see what's going on that tiny little screen with
Oh,
all the terrible color grading.
yeah, honestly,
Ugly. Ugly.
I think it's about time we watch some movies that we do enjoy, and maybe we'll talk about those again because we've already done that for The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, just talk about something we actually like.
Talk about some movies we actually like, and I think that's maybe where we'll go, or maybe we'll talk about frankly anything we want.
Yeah.
It's our new podcast, so
Like and subscribe, guys.
see you guys next time.
Catch you next time.